record this on the computer. I mean, well, I'm going to record it and put it on YouTube so that people who could not attend have access to this. It's not, I don't think this is going to be a long tutorial where I'm going to walk you through every little thing. But what I'm going to get most of you to see is how to use this template. I'll talk about how you're going to get access to these templates. So this is your annual report, and we're going to show you how to map what you put in your annual report to specific areas in Sedona, and you can enter it. I'll show you how to enter that. And then I'll spend a little bit of time with the scholarly activities because there is some nuances there which you need to enter, and I'll show you that. But the rest of it is all, once you're able to read the stuff in red, it actually is mapping your annual report or your faculty sufficiency report. And again, it'll show you where things are being mapped, and I'll talk about each one. So to access Sedona, you're going to log into the Blackboard, go to the FMU School of Business document library, and under faculty, you'll have Sedona right here. And there's the Sedona website, and then you have the two templates which you need to use, the annual report template and then the faculty sufficiency report template. Those are the two Word documents that I kind of showed you. So let's start with the annual report, and we're going to start. So first, with your all this will be automatically populated, so you don't have to worry about what courses you taught in the spring and fall and that stuff. Rebecca has populated that. Hopefully the next person we get will be able to do that also. But this will automatically be generated, okay? And so the key is to, kind of look at this. To get to Sedona, you're going to click on this, right? And it'll take you, and let me go ahead, sign out here. It'll take you to this website, sedonaweb.com. And your account will be the member account, okay? And you all of you have your own member ID and password. I am going to log into the college account because it's easier for me to jump from one place to another, but I'll show you what you're going to see. So once you log in, and I'm going to log in. Yes, David?
One question I have is that, if you go ahead and log in it just from the Sedona web, is it going to populate the same way? Do I need to make sure to go in through Blackboard?
No, you can just go directly to Sedona web. All I've done is provide a link, external link for Sedona web. So it's still going
to go ahead and populate over to the annual report and that kind of stuff. It's just you're going in a different direction. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there is no integration between Sedona and Blackboard. So I mean, it's if you have a separate Sedona web, you can go directly there. Okay. So let me go ahead and log in. You're not going to see. I'm just going to go into what you will be seeing when you log in with your password. You'll be seeing this. This is the screen you're going to look at. Okay. And all the parts here, that is research activities, service activities, all of this is what you will be entering. And this is where you'll be getting your annual report, your faculty sufficiency report, and other documents. Right now, we are only these two are really working. You will get a CV and a bio, but it's more like a default template. We haven't really customized it. These are the two documents which we have created. Okay. So let's start with our annual report. So remember I said all this will be automatically generated, right? And let me show you an example of the annual report here. So you'll see your name, your rank, whatever your teaching schedule, all of that this part will be automatically generated. And you can then generate a Word, PDF, or directly print it. So let me go back. So the first thing in your annual report, the first section, is teaching development, right? And then you have course development, program development, all these kind of activities here. So I wanted to kind of show you how, David, did you have a question? Your hand's raised.
No, I just didn't lower it. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So I want to kind of show you how to kind of map this template to Sedona. So under course development, you'll see there are two different first headings, which is teaching activities and executive professional education. And then under that, there is course development and delivery of exec professional education, right? So if you go to Sedona, you will see here exec or teaching activities. So this teaching activities, let's take this annual report and you have something, teaching activities course development. You can go to teaching activities, and some of it is already populated. We spent last summer typing all your data in, so you can check whether the old, if you want to see the old data, whether it's true. And for new data, you can click add a new record, and then you can select this new activity, and then you see course development right here. You can select that, right? And how would you know that this, you need to go here, is that if you look at this, it says teaching activities, course development, right? So under teaching activities, once you click add, you're going down and selecting course development to then you can put the title in, you can put the calendar year. So the calendar year, whether it is in 2020 or 2021. When you click 2020 or 2021, all of these will ask you for which academic year. So whether you're doing it in 2020, 2021, or 21, 22, right now we are in 2020, 21. You can ignore all these codes on engagement, impact, innovation, mission. Right now we have not developed that. If there is a link which you want to link this activity to, you can put that in, and then you basically put in whatever description you have here. I'm going to give you an example here, which is this is my annual report. And let's say in course development, I wanted to essentially add this business analytics training module for the certificate in executive management, right? So I would go course development, business analytics module, and then here I would paste whatever I've created. Now, remember when you paste, copy and paste from Excel, please be careful here. It says when copying and paste from Excel, use paste as plain text or paste from Word features. Essentially, let me just go ahead and, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so let me go ahead and delete this. You see this button here says paste from Word. And here is paste as plain text. As I ask you to use this paste as plain text because otherwise the formatting becomes really messy. If you want to print your document with in a nicely formatted way, go ahead and paste as plain text. Okay, that is this part here. If you happen to not use that, you can select whatever text is, and then here, you see this eraser, it removes the format. You can click on that to erase format. And if you don't do it, most likely it's going to accept it. You'll just end up with a different format. And you can always then correct it on your Word document later on. But sometimes if you use a font which this software does not recognize, then it gets into a little bit of trouble there. Okay, so and then all you do is save, and it will actually generate that here. Okay, if there's a document which you want to attach, so for example, you'll notice that for my student consulting projects, I actually have a document which I have uploaded, and this is their students report of that project for Sunoco, and you can actually click manage and attach files and go and upload those files if you have some documentation you want to attach to it. So let me go ahead and delete that. Okay, so that is the first one. And then if you want to, if at any point of time you're doing any executive education with the certificate program and you want to either look at course development or program development, you will go here to exec professional education. Takes a bit of time. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go add, and then you select the type of activity, whether it's design or delivery, and you go, it's a similar kind of interface. Again, as I said earlier, you can ignore these codes: engagement, impact, innovation, mission. We can ignore them. When we get to doing AOL and setting that up, then we can start linking it to specific mission goals and generate more reports from there. But at this point of time, we're not going to do that. I was hoping to start that work this summer, but if Rebecca is going, I don't think I'm even going to try that right now. So it's pretty much each one, as you can see, you can have teaching activities, all these first headings coming here will correspond to something here, right? As you can see. And you can see it's kind of, all of this is mapped there. And if you see this one, thesis dissertation committee, I think there's a separate, let's see, let me make sure. And as you can see, there's thesis dissertation committee, it's right here, okay? So you can directly map everything using this document from your annual report to your Sedona. For scholarly activities, and this kind of becomes almost the most important part for a lot of us, right? You will see that there is specific mapping again for articles and journals where these will fall in, and you can go to articles and journals if it's a journal article, right? And you can go here, and I want to kind of show you some. So you can put the title of the article. If a journal is already there in our list, you can go ahead and select the journals here. If it's not in the list, you can click this and petition for that journal, right? It's important now that we put acceptance rates so that it's part of, when we talk about research quality, that it's going to be part of that. You've got to put the review type, whether it's blind, double blind, and so on, refereed. I mean, of course, we are looking at either refereed or even if it's non-refereed, go ahead and click that. Whether it's just accepted, published. If it's an invited publications, you can click this. The year accepted, again, you select the year that it got accepted, and then you select the academic year, right? And then it's important, now in the past, we used to, I know David's done that in the past, and I've done it when I look at everybody's journal article and I guess whether it's basic discovery or applied integration or teaching and learning. And then in this case, it just says not counted as separate intellectual contribution. But all your articles, you've got to kind of put it under one of these three categories. You got to pick one of these three categories. And what I have done in the last two, 2015 and 2020, is if it's pedagogical research, I've used teaching and learning. If it's a case, it's applied. You're kind of looking, unless it's a teaching case, in which case you can kind of put it here under teaching and learning. And then most of the other articles is predominantly a basic discovery, especially if you're adding to theory. But any one of the three is okay. And then you've got to select that it's refereed, right? You do not need to do any of these codes. If you got any grant for it, it could be part of your sabbatical, then you had some money for it. You can put the money for it. If there is a student collaboration make sure you select that. And then you kind of start, you kind of put your volume. If you have a DOI, I strongly recommend you put the DOI there. If you want to put your abstract, you can put the abstract here. And this is the part I really like in Sedona, is that we do encourage each other to, sorry, Mary, go ahead. I didn't see your hand raised.
Well, my question is about teaching. So how about can we finish this and maybe go back?
Sure, absolutely. And if one of you raise your hand and I have not seen it, just go ahead, unmute yourself and say, hurry, stop, and we'll get there. So here will be all if you're doing a co-author, you can go select that particular person, and it will, whatever you put in will automatically go into your co-author's account. So if, let's say, Jan, if you and Marie are in a paper, if you enter it, then Marie does not have to enter it. It'll automatically appear. Also, you will have to put your name, and you got to enter this data, and you can move these up and down depending upon who's the first author, who's the second author, and then you can put the corresponding author. And occasionally you might have a kind of a paper where you have quite a lot of authors. Then I would put all the FMU authors in here, and then you can add the rest at the bottom here, right? The et al, who are people outside FMU, can go here. So just to show you like an example of what I'm talking about, let me go back. It's taking some time. Or I can just go home, maybe that'll be faster. Articles and journals. And then if you take a look at this, if you look at the edit, I go edit here, you can see here are the authors. I've selected Beth, and I wrote this paper with some other people. And so she's selected right here. If you go down, there you go. So it appears on her account. I've kind of shown that here, this journal, and this kind of tells me, gives the quality of that journal. It's in Cabell's, and also it's in Q4 rating. And this is being published 2019. It's a BDS. It's refereed. We don't have to worry about that right now because the journal is set up. And then I put the DOI here, the URL for that. I'll probably add the abstract for it soon. Okay. So, and if you have your PDF, you can then go to manage and upload the PDF file, which means then later on, 4 years from now, I'm not going to keep asking everybody to submit all their journals because it's already here, right? And so we will automatically generate that. This link will take it to the actual website where this is being shared. So all of this, it'll save us a lot of time and effort, the manual effort which it took to put together the AACSB report. And it'll only do that if people update this. Otherwise, we're going to have to end up trying to get things done manually. Mary, before we get on to the other part of research, I'll let Mary, why don't you ask your question on teaching?
Okay, thank you. So when I look at under teaching courses taught, for me, it's listing Business 150 and Business 475, and that's great. But don't I also want to put in University Life 100, 102, and then the honors class that I teach? So do I just list those in the text area where it says other courses taught?
Well, and you since it's part of your annual report, you want it to appear on your annual report. That's a good question. Non-business courses that you're teaching, Mary, let me think about how we are going to do that, because you're doing an honors class. Because what I don't want is when we get to our tables, why we are doing this is that it'll generate AACSB reports for us. But if let me give me a couple of days to think about that. I think that's a great question.
Okay, no problem.
And most likely, I'm going to tell you you to let Rebecca know, and she's going to put your courses there, and we'll adjust those tables to not include those courses.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. So articles and journals. That's your. If you look at this again, you can see here scholarly activities, and I'm just going to. Here you go, scholarly activities. And that'll come under the research activity entry, and you get articles and journals. This one, books, monographs, compilations, manuals, guides, that'll come under here, right? Chapters, case readings. And for cases, for all of you who are doing cases, if your case is going to a journal like CCRA or NACRA, I mean, if it's going to a journal, you will put it under articles in journals. That's a peer-reviewed publication. But if you have a case in a textbook, like if you're writing a case for Fred's textbook, and you want acknowledgement, or you do it for Sage Publishing. Sage Publishing has a whole series where they want you to publish cases, but it's not a peer-reviewed journal. Then you would put it under here, right? With book chapters, there are scholarly edited book chapters. You might be writing a book chapter, you put it under here, okay? So that's exactly how you do your annual report. You can look at it, and the articles and proceedings, your articles in progress, all of these actually come under these kind of subheadings. Since we don't do any recitals or art shows, it's not mapped to Sedona anywhere. And then if you have completed something which is not published in a journal, but you want to show it, you can put it under research reports under here.
Okay, so Hari, I have another question.
Go ahead.
So right there where I have finished my case, but it has not been published, would I put my finished case there under scholarly work completed, even though it's not published yet?
Let me see. I think that would come under articles in progress.
Okay.
I think let me see. Yeah, I think that should come under articles in progress, because you are intending that for publication. You just finished work and you have it in hand, but it's going to go to a journal. So I think you should put it in this articles in progress.
All right, copy that.
Okay. Okay, so these are the kind of different scholarly activities. So far, all your your peak and your grants, which your internal grants, which you're getting, we have been tracking them and kind of uploading them here, so that it will appear in your annual report, and it'll appear in a separate part. It won't come under research. And we have been putting your, like your pre, I think Rebecca has been putting these grants and the documents there, so we can kind of see how much money you have been generating, and that's kind of helpful when we write up our report to say, here are all the peak activities faculty have done. But that comes here. So you might want to check if you had a peak activity and you had a peak grant, which you have completed, make sure that, when you do your annual report, it's appearing there. These are all things which we want to check. Okay. For computer science and MIS faculty, if you have software development, that comes under here. And there is in your annual report, let's see, there was some other research activities. Anything under other will come under here. And you can kind of put, I think there are ways to kind of add subheadings there. Okay. Finally, we'll talk about some of the service And service, as you can see here, you see community service, institutional service, and professional service. And we've kind of classified participation in scholarly societies as part of your professional, that is service to the profession, right? So that comes in your annual report, that comes under your scholarly activities, right? So when you're filling up your annual report, you're just going to go to the subheading and then look for the specific target. In this case, this is part of your professional service. And then you're going to look at, if you're, let's say you're a member of an editorial board in an academic journal. So then you're going to go here and you're going to select the type of activity and it will appear one of these, right? And you can see the corresponding mapping on your annual report for that, right? Same thing for honors received. Let's go back. Let's see. It's under other activities entry, right? And that's why it says other activities entry and then honors received, and you can kind of go and select that. And the interface is very similar. You can go and select your title of the honor, and you can put this, whether it's an honor, it's an award, or a scholarship, and you can put that in there. All right. So annual report, I think, so the other kind of services are your committees, which you're doing as institutional services. You can use this option here, right? If there are any administrative duties that, like your department, your coordinator, your director, associate dean, some kind of activities, you can put it under administrative duties here. And so again, the mapping, you can see the mapping directly. And then if you have any community service, that comes under this category, okay? There are some other activities, including consulting services, you can kind of look at, but these are the ones which really map into your annual report. And then there's some professional advancements. If you are taking some kind of for professional development, some kind of workshop or course that you have taken, you can kind of put it under here, right? And that's your annual report. Now, the same kind of philosophy falls under, before I go into the faculty sufficiency report, let me just kind of, I haven't really filled up this, but here is an example of an annual report, how it looks like. So it talks about the academic year. It actually look at the courses you taught, whatever you did, teaching development, program development. So we have designed the thing to kind of signify how much student, practical work that, if you're doing a student project in your class with a company, that would appear here. And it's because it's part of supporting our mission. It's kind of right at the top, and it's very prominent to see how much you're doing each year. If you have any scholarly activities, they would appear here. Again, if you have committee work, all of that would appear. A committee work now automatically, all committees you're in automatically get put in. Rebecca has been putting it in, but just check, make sure that you're not missing something. So any questions on annual report or how to access the different categories in Sedona? Okay, so let's look at the faculty sufficiency report. It's in very similar form. Each item has its own, the red kind of is the mapping onto Sedona, right? And most of them tend to be similar, but for example, consulting experience, I don't think was there in our annual report, but it is there. It's part of your faculty sufficiency, right? And so you should be able to map whatever are these activities you're getting credit for, right? And it'll map directly onto Sedona, and your faculty sufficiency will be generated for 5 years. So once you put your tables, it'll tell you, how many basic discovery you got, how many applied, how many teaching and learning. It also puts in articles in progress, and I think this kind of gives us a good idea on essentially, kind of your research potential, your research stream. So that's kind of good. If you have attached your journal PDFs, it should pop up right here, right? So that way, again, we don't bother you. And again, if you have done any professional engagements, program course development, that comes under here. If you have student projects, so this kind of gives us the 5-year window of your faculty sufficiency pretty easily, and then that helps us in the long term to 2024 we'll have a little less work than we did in 2019, building our report for AACSB. Okay. Any questions or doubts? And most of it will be, once you start fiddling around with it, I'm sure there will be some question, and I'll be happy to answer that. Questions? Any issues? Okay, so I think most of you have submitted your annual report. This week is the kind of the last day to do that, and Rebecca will be in touch with all of you to set up some time, and when we can talk about that. I think the faculty sufficiency report was kind of due before the 26th, April 26th. And I think Rebecca sent you all the old sufficiency report, and you all have to advance one more year, chop off that very last year and kind of add the current year to it. And then before the end of the semester, if you can update this, we'll spend the summer checking both your annual report and your faculty sufficiency report, making sure everything is there. If you guys have time, kind of take a look at that, and then we'll try to fix the reporting, because one of the issues with the reporting feature is that different people do different things, and we are not sure we've managed to capture everything that you do within our templates here. And so I'm sure there will be exceptions, and that's what we'll spend this summer trying to fix, so that next year you don't have to do your 2 different Word documents, and you can just put everything in here and just print it out. So it'll be one place, a database for everything that you do. Okay, I think that was my little presentation for you guys to kind of how to use the 2 Word documents and then map it directly to